In this tutorial we'll take a look at the cube template. This object can be found in the miscellaneous utility library under the item category. It is designed to be constructed from rigid materials such as foam and honeycomb boards, or corrugated cardboard. The six-sided cube is a great conversation piece for advertising or decoration, at a trade show or in the office. Parametrically size it to set on the desk or on the floor. There are many ways to use your creativity with this object. Let's have a look at ways to work with it.
And I'll stretch this out just to give us more room. And so we're going to look at dimensions. Right now you can see the cube is in the shape of a cross, and it will fold up when it goes into 3D. It'll fold up into the cube shape that locks together. It's a 6-piece lock tab cube. They lock together with these tabs. And so in dimensions, I'll click on that, and we have beginning with has equal sides, and we'll look at that in a minute. The annotations, view annotations, that just turns on and off our annotations that tell us what the parts are. Our layout here, we can change the layout. We have two layouts. We have this one is the cross, and then we also have a grid style layout that just brings the parts up into a small grid. And so we'll leave it in this view for a moment. With the equal sides, if I uncheck that, I can change any of my dimensions, and the cube will change on that size. So if I change the height to say 600, the depth to 300, and we see the parts have changed here that make up our cube. And if we go back to our first layout, we can see how that lays out in that cross shape and how the parts go together. When we click has equal sides again, it will automatically set the other two dimensions to the width dimension. And so the width dimension is kind of our default dimension. We can change it independent from the others when we have that unchecked, but when it is checked, it's going to make the size of the cube whatever we want. So the gap between the pieces lets us decide that we want a gap in between the parts, and that might be good for cutting out, or even when we do our illustrations, we might want it to be close as possible. The minimum that you can have is 0.5. So if you go under 0.5, it will default to 0.5, and that's just the minimum that we can allow for this type of object. And then our tab width sets the width of these tabs that we're using. So if, for example, we change this to 164, you'll see that it only has room for one tab on each piece, and so that becomes our locking. If we were to go with 96 or 94, we'd end up with different number of tabs, but it automatically figures out how many tabs can fit on the part and spaces them out accordingly. So we'll set that back to the 64. Now those are the controls that we have for our layout and size and so on. We go into our 3D now, or let's send this to Flexi first. And so if I click on the send to Flexi, I'll move this out of the way so we can see it. There's our cross, and I don't really want to have the I don't think I want to have the annotations show up on that, so I'm going to click that and remove the annotations, and I'll send the box again, and you can see that the annotations are gone. let's have a look at the other layout, see what it looks like on here. And so we'll send it again, and that gives us our layout. Now, thing to notice here is that regardless of what layout we have, the parts are going to go together in the same order. And so when you do your illustrations, you want to be aware of that, and do your illustration accordingly. So I'm going to go to 3D now, and you'll notice that when I go to 3D, I only have one layout. That's because the cube is designed to fold together in this order, and the other layout doesn't make that possible with the grid shape. So it needs to be in this layout. If you change this here, it won't change the layout. But I'll move some of these around. Let's do this. Let's bring this down here. Let's bring this one up to the center. And we'll leave this over here. And that should be good enough to demonstrate this. So now we'll go back and view it in our 3D. And now you can see how the images line up on there as they did on our Flexi drawing. So I want to fold it up now and have a look at it. So I'm just going to click the play button and let it fold up. It automatically turn over so that you can see it fold together. Now, this is not a folding object. It actually snaps together with these locking tabs. So it's just folding together for reference so that you can see the parts go into place. And so now we have our cube, and there we are. And everything folded up and in place. And you can see where our star wrapped around the corner there. And so that's it. That's the cube. Thank you.